Your dream cruise is getting ready to set sail.
So a really scary situation unfolding.
Just as a monster storm develops in the Caribbean.
Absolutely unbelievable sight.
You start refreshing your weather app every hour, checking the cruise line's website and wondering, is my trip about to get canceled? Or is it even safe to go? I'm Patrick, your port authority, but also a longtime TV meteorologist. Let's talk about what happens when a hurricane threatens your cruise and what you can do to protect your wallet, your vacation, and your sanity. Here's the first thing you need to know. Cruise ships don't sail into hurricanes. They try to avoid them completely. These are billion-dollar ships with as many as 10,000 people on board. They're not going to risk it. Modern ships can travel faster than most hurricanes, and every cruise line has a team of meteorologists tracking storms 24 hours a day. If a storm forms in your path, the captain and the cruise line will simply reroute your ship to stay in calmer waters, sometimes hundreds of miles away. When a hurricane develops in the Caribbean or Atlantic, the first thing the cruise line does is rework the schedule. Now, that might mean visiting different ports than planned, reversing the order of your itinerary, or even turning a port day into an extra sea day. If Jamaica or the Cayman Islands are in the storm's path, your cruise might swap those stops for Cozumel or the Bahamas. It's not ideal, but it keeps you safe and it keeps your vacation going. When a port is canceled because of weather, you'll at least get a refund for the port fees and any cruise line excursions since the ship didn't dock there. But here's what catches a lot of cruisers off guard. You typically won't get additional compensation unless the cruise line cancels multiple ports or drastically changes the itinerary. Sometimes they'll offer a small onboard credit as a goodwill gesture, but that's not guaranteed. Think of it like this. You're still sailing, you're still being fed, you're still on vacation, even if it's not the one that you had pictured. Now, can your entire cruise be canceled? It's rare, but it can happen. The biggest risk isn't a storm near your destination, it's a storm near your departure port. If your cruise is supposed to leave from Miami, Galveston, or Port Canaveral, and a hurricane is headed straight for the coast, the cruise line might delay departure, shorten the itinerary, or even cancel the sailing altogether. When that happens, you'll almost always get a full refund or a future cruise credit. But your flights and hotels, those are usually on you, which is why travel insurance matters. If you're cruising anytime between June and the end of November, you're in hurricane season, and that's when travel insurance goes from nice to have to absolutely essential. Standard policies may reimburse you if your cruise is delayed or canceled due to weather, but the real star is what's called cancel for any reason coverage. It costs more, but it lets you back out even if you just don't feel safe traveling into a storm zone. If you've booked your flights or hotels separately, insurance can save you thousands when plans change. But what if you're already on the ship when a storm forms? Well, first, don't panic. These ships are floating cities with highly advanced weather monitoring equipment. You might wake up one morning to find a notice saying your itinerary has been changed or that you're heading in a different direction. That's normal, and it's a sign that the system works. These ships are massive, stable, and built to handle rough seas, but their top priority is always to avoid them entirely. Sometimes the storm isn't even close to your route, but it still disrupts your plans. Flights into Florida get canceled, roads flood, and suddenly you can't get to your ship in time. That's why seasoned cruisers always arrive a day early, especially during hurricane season. It gives you a cushion if something goes wrong, and it's a lot cheaper to spend one extra night in a hotel than to miss your cruise entirely. If your return flight home gets impacted by weather, contact the airline immediately. Most will waive change fees when named storms are involved. Cruise lines will update passengers through emails, push notifications in their apps, the travel alerts page on their website, and sometimes even social media posts. If you're still at home, check those sources before you head to the port. If you're already on board, listen for the captain's announcements. They'll keep you updated and reassured. So what's the bottom line? Hurricanes sound scary, but cruise lines have decades of experience dealing with them safely. They would rather change your entire route than risk the safety of the passengers on board and their billion-dollar vessel. Your cruise probably won't be canceled, but your itinerary might change. You'll get port fees refunded, but not necessarily more than that. Travel insurance and flexibility are your best friends, and above all, don't panic. Cruise lines are experts at dodging storms. So if a tropical system develops before your cruise, take a deep breath. You might end up with a different port or with an extra sea day, but you're still going to have a great time. So have you ever had a cruise rerouted because of a storm? How did it go? Let me know in the comments. And as you start planning that dream Caribbean cruise, start here with our Caribbean Cruise Port playlist. Lots of important information there for you. I'm meteorologist Patrick Rockey, your Port Authority.